Hello everyone, Winterspring in the shadow of Mount Hyjal. It was the next area you would like to explore. This is one of those zones that just will never leave my memory when thinking back to Classic, because of two reasons. First of all, my newbie self, I decided that this was going to be the area where I was going to hit max level. Now if memory serves, I was around level 58 and all out of quest, right? I didn't want to travel back to areas like Silithus or something, so I started killing owls. For days, I ran around in circles, killing them over and over again, until that beautiful thing happened. The second reason, that was because I played Hunter back in the day, and a really cool questline that had to do with the green leaf that you could find in Molten Core. This put you on an epic questline to get this epic bow called Rokdelar, a longbow of the Ancients, which, if you wanted, could also transform into a staff called Lokdelar, Staff of the Ancient Keepers. There was also this quiver, which required a mature blue dragon sinew. I think you could also get it in the Winterspring, but usually the easy way to get it was just from the world boss, the Zunagos. Now part of the quest, that was to face off against 4 different demons, which were spread all across the world, with each of them having their own weakness to use against them. For example, one demon you had to melee, for one you had to use traps, another you had to kite around, and I'm pretty sure that the one in Winterspring, that was the one you were supposed to kite around, as it would transform you into a demon, and then being hit, it was pretty much a one-shot. Now a big catch of this questline was that you were supposed to do it alone, right? No outside help allowed, not even your pets. If anyone were to tag your demon, it would simply despawn and you'd have to start all over again. Meaning that plenty of hunters, they would find themselves here in the early hours of the server, hoping that nobody was around. Or they'd use a macro, just yelling out like, "Please don't help me, I'm doing the hunter quest, do not tag this demon." Yeah, that's just one of those quests that will be with me in my memory as being one of the best. I'm really curious to find out, with the classic release in summer, if it actually holds up. Now away from the nostalgia and reminiscing about the past, Winterspring can be accessed by going through Timbermaw Hold. Quite a deadly run if you don't have the right reputation. They don't take kindly to travelers just passing through. But once you're out on the other side, a beautiful snowy area opens up. The Furbolg are not quite done being hostile though. The delicious Winterfall Firewater, it increases our attack power and size, quite a desired potion back in the day. This stuff is created by the Zendivius Satyr in Velwood and then transported to Winterspring, where it's purified and used to empower them. Quite a problem for the locals, so we're asked to take care of the Furbolg and figure out what is going on. You elf fans out there, you probably really enjoy the story that goes on at the ruins of Kel'theril, as most of the elf evolutions, they've been drawn here and met horrible fates. 10,000 years ago, it was the Highborn that lived here in prosperity. They considered themselves above the common ranks of the other Night Elves, with their every need met by magic and wealth. Their lives were full of indulgence, amusement, and greed. The crystal of Zin-Malor was stolen from a far-off temple without remorse. The temple of Zin-Malor, you can actually still find the ruins of Eldrath in Azshara. Now the crystal, it has a unique property which allowed them to control the arcane. Far too tempting, and when they toyed with it, its shattering, it cursed them all. They suffered for quite a while, until the lands of Kalimdor sundered apart and completely ruined Kel'theril. Yet the curse of Zin-Malor, it binds all who seek his power here. Thousands of years later, their descendants, the Kal'dorai or the High Elves, they showed up and they would be next to fall. They were proud and noble, their faith in the light protected them, and with the Sunwell, they wanted for nothing. Because of that blindness, they ended up here repeating the tragedy of history, seeking the ancient mysteries of Kel'theril, only to find why it was destroyed. They found fragments of it in the ice, shards of the crystal. The Archmage Mianius that accompanied them, it did not take long for him to fall under its sway. In their foolishness, they noticed it too late. With his mind taken, he just had to study it. He could not control himself. Now his spirit wanders in the southeast, amongst those that he drove to madness, still clutching the memory of the precious shards. Mianius was a powerful mage and an honorable elf. His spirit did not deserve such an ignoble fate. They were shocked before they died, shocked that one amongst their noble and Austrian kin could descend into vicious obsession so quickly. They died as naive fools, the victims of their own blithe assumptions. So fast forward a few years, and we see the destruction of the Sunwell, the High Elves, now known as the Blood Elves or the Sin'dorei. They were not as naive as their forefathers were. They were suspicious and cunning and ready for betrayal at every turn. Yet their pride and greed, it drove them to ruin once more. How many more will be lost to Kel'theril? As we talk with the spirits and we uncover the history of the crystal, there's actually a shade of the spirit speaker that shows up. The master would have you silent. Fear not, Zin-Malor, it will never belong to another. It appears that someone has obtained the crystal. Time to investigate. We ride up the frozen waterfall while avoiding the arcane bombs that are sliding down. The shade is slain. Its master's name is found on the shard of the spirit speaker. Its master is called Umbrans. Rumor has it that he's been collecting magical artifacts, though for what purpose, they cannot say. This information is then passed on to the High Elf called Nim at Everlook, which is a large goblin outpost. Now while we wait for more information to surface, we might as well help out the 3 weapon wielders in town with a little competition. Lilith alive, Kilram and Cyril Scourgebane. They've been arguing for weeks over whose weapons are superior. Lilith uses a mace to show off its amazing qualities by crushing a boulder. Kilram's axe can chop a tree with one chop, while Cyril, he does not care about how sharp or heavy a weapon might be. It's all about the finesse. He uses his sword to carve out a beautiful statue from the ice. All materials that they carve up, they are provided by us, of course. Now while we go about helping them with the competition, we also have Umi Rampelsnicker in town with the famous Are We There Yeti questline. Her friends always come up with these amazing ideas, and she finally has one too. With some Yeti fur and Yeti horns, she can make a mechanical Yeti. What better way to use this than to scare the crap out of her friends? In the past, this would then send you over to her friends in Tanaris, in Unguro, and right here in Winterspring. But these days, it's just scaring Lakaki right here in town. She'll think twice before making fun of her ideas again. Engineers out there, you can now learn how to craft a mechanical Yeti themselves. All fun and games, but the threat of Umbrans is still out there. He's been located at Mastril Cavern, which once belonged to the Blue Dragonflight. Back in Classic, you actually needed to go through this massive questline in order to gain access to Onyxia's lair. For the Alliance, the questline of restoring the key and go into the lair, that eventually had you go through this cave, which wasn't exactly friendly. In the back, there were runes that would teleport you to Halle, who was thankfully willing to help us out. All you needed to do was gather some blood from General Drakisov in Blackrock Spire, bring the blood back to Halle, and the questline was complete. She used to be Malagos' consort. Her son is actually Nim, the High Elf in town. But of course, we have slain Malagos during Wrath of the Lich King, and in the Blue's weakest hour, they've been driven from their cave. The area is a place of extremely potent magic, and Umbrans messing about with it. It's affected the local wildlife. The beasts nearby, they've been altered. We put them out of the misery, and we also retrieved their brains to see if we can undo his wild magic. Sadly though, whatever Umbrans has done, it had prevented her from undoing his magic. Perhaps we'll have to look more into the ancient druidic magic of the Owlbeast, since they seem to be able to enter cave without a problem, so their magic must be capable of disabling Umbrans' work. After collecting a Dreamcatcher, we travel to Frostwhisper Gorge, the area where I spent so much time trying to hit max level. The essence of the Claw Totem, the Life Totem and the Moon Totem, they're absorbed into the Dreamcatcher. With it filled, all that's left to do is gather 7 winter water from ice avatars in the area. We're now ready to enter the cave and end the threat of Umbrans. His wild casting has opened up a number of portals to other worlds. We see threats from Zorov, Outland, even ethereals and all kinds of creatures that are stepping through into our worlds. We shut down the portals of course, and we remove the magic Umbrans used to guard himself. Now vulnerable, the mage quickly falls. It will definitely take some time for Mastril to recover, but it's going to. The Blue Dragonflight is far from dead. The same can't really be said about Yadrak the Slicer. This poor orc has lost his honor to the wild, overwhelmed by a flurry of wings and talons. He now lays here, a broken orc with nothing but vengeance on his mind. We must help him regain his honor, slay the Owlbeast, Tumblers and Frostilicus. The Frostmold giants wouldn't have been a problem for the orc if not for the elemental. When the ground shook and the bridge broke, he and his fellow water elementals, they seeped out of the earth and they took over the bottom of Frostwhisper Gorge, which then forced the giants out, and they were quite powerful during Classic. After this quest, Jadrak's fate is unknown. Does he survive the cold of Winterspring? Has he regained his honor? Will he stand with people like Sourfang, or prefer to serve the Banshee Queen? Who knows? But our adventure, it takes us away from here and further north to Starfall Village. They're dealing with a bit of infestation in their barrow den. Fun fact, during Warcraft 3, we actually went about waking up the druids here to help us fight against Archmage and the Legion. Now the infestation, the bugs, they're quite a problem and they have to be eradicated. The Curtain Fire family have been working as bug exterminators for years now. They're perfect for the job, yet the goblins' methods, they might do a little bit too much of damage and destroy the precious relics, so we might as well get them out of the den while we can. Sana Curtain Fire, she's the one who sends her away to her cousin, who's making a killing in the frozen meat business. He set up a smoking pit up north, and he's looking for help hunting all the dangerous beasties that always tend to taste so good. Just Good Grub and his companions, they're kindly the nesting of the area. They exterminate the local wildlife, like frost saber huntresses, which then leads into the Watchers, into the big beast known as Shai Rotam, the pride mother of the Winterspring frost sabers, and a very tasty meal. Or it's the Winterspring owls to prove that owl meat is better than bear, which leads to taking on Hellhoot. Now local legends, it tells of a mighty owl that circles the mountaintops like death on wings. They named her Deathwing. Soon afterwards, they were told that the name was already taken, so they settled on a moniker that evoked a similar sense of horror and dread. They decided on Hellhoot. Silence the Inferno Nocturnal, so we can eat her. Or you might go for the sharp-toothed bears that lead into Ursius. They've heard that it says that you are what you eat. If that's really true, they prefer to eat the strongest creature that they can find. Ursius is the largest bear in Winterspring. He's the one who eats first when his pack of Sharptooth bring down a chimera or an owlbear. He claims the most comfortable cave in the Sharptooth held lands, and he has considerable influence with the Sharptooth females. He's their kind of bear that they would love to devour. But just food is not the only thing that the local wildlife can be used for. As an Alliance player, whereas the Horde one, the equivalent of this questline, it can be found in Onguro, but for the Alliance, in Winterspring, you can talk with River Frostwind, a Winter Saber trainer. It's going to take some time and dedication, but we should be able to learn how to ride a Winterspring Frost Saber, get them while they're young, we steal their cups and we bring them back to him. Each time that we bond with a little thing, each time that we do a daily quest, we get a whisker. 20 days later, we have the 20 that we need. That combined with 20 runecloth, 20 rug leather and 80 gold, it hooks us up with a Winterspring Frost Saber mount. We even get a cute little picture of our cub's first toy. A cute little mount quest to finish up the zone, and now you're familiar with the story in Winterspring. A zone that I'll always look back to with fondness. By all means, let me know in the comments down below which zone you'd like me to cover next. Subscribe if you like my videos, leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and until next time guys, see ya!